Hello, everybody. I'm Jonathan Stallick. I'm a professional homeopath. Been practicing for close on 40 years now. Doesn't the time fly? And I'm very delighted to introduce Sharon, who's agreed to come along today and talk about her experience with homeopathy. She's been a patient of mine over the last few months. So, Sharon, do you want to just share a little bit about your health journey before trying homeopathy? And then what led you to homeopathy in the first place?
Yes, no problem. I came to homeopathy because I've been suffering since menopause with a skin condition called lichen sclerosus. It was diagnosed about 4 or 5 years ago. There's basically you have a skin condition in the genital area, and it causes an awful lot of irritation, discomfort, and inflammation. The doctors say there's no cure for it, so they manage it with steroid cream, and those steroid creams obviously thin the already delicate skin. Um, and it does take the itching away, the irritation away for a while, but it's very difficult to manage, and it's a constant thing in your mind. You're always thinking about it, what clothes to wear because different materials can irritate you. And you never know when you're going to get an attack. So, it stops you going out so much. And I think it makes you miserable, actually. You don't realize you're miserable, but actually you are.
Yes, yes, constant recurrence of a very uncomfortable condition.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
and what were your sort of thoughts about homeopathy? I mean, had you come across it before, or what were your
Yes,
thoughts
I'd
about
I'd been treated for homeopathy before for a gallstone. It didn't take the gallstone away, but it did. The symptoms subsided, which is enough as long as you're
that?
not in pain.
Yes, yeah.
That's the main thing, isn't it? So I did have homeopathy for that. I'm sure I had homeopathy years ago for something, but I can't remember what it was.
Okay,
So
so
I'm fairly familiar with homeopathy, but I think your mind tells you how can a tiny little pill with a
yeah,
frequency and it do any good at all,
a little bit of skepticism
A
there as
little
well.
bit, a little bit,
Yeah,
but of course when you're in agony, you'll try anything.
well, I do understand that. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So, how was your experience with the actual process of, um, of the homeopathic session, the session of where we discussed your issues, etc. What was your experience of that?
Well, I think you prescribed three different pills to start with, and I was only to take them for 3 days or something like that. But straight away, I had a much lessening of the irritation and less often. So where it was a daily occurrence, it had gone down quite considerably. And
Yeah,
what
you were
happened?
taking baths as well, weren't you? You were
Yes,
having to
yes.
take baths every day with a certain something in the
Chlorine
bath.
dioxide in the
Yes,
bath,
that's right.
um, because I'd heard somewhere in the ether that that was good for you, and I found that that did soothe it. But yeah, definitely there was a lessening there was a bigger time gap between attacks, let's put it that way. And what that did, I believe, it enabled me to get in touch with other things that were wrong with me, like tiredness and um, yeah, tiredness mainly and bloating that I hadn't even been aware I had because I was so focused on the lichen sclerosis that I think these things were there. I just wasn't aware of them. So obviously you treated me for those as well. And I mean, it just seemed really funny that on those two occasions before the pills even arrived, I felt better. I can remember discussing with you how tired I felt, and I always seemed to be very lethargic, etc., etc. And you prescribed something, and the minute I walked away from the computer, I suddenly had this burst of energy. And it's almost like the energy reached me through the computer. But I mean, I did take the pills, but now I feel much better. I feel very energetic.
But
I'm
before we get
probably,
to that,
yeah,
because after the initial prescription, you then went into full blown flu, didn't you?
yes, I did. Yes,
And then this is so in a way part of the homeopathic process is it's a bit like being a detective,
yes,
and sort of you have to sort of explore, you have to find out the root of everything. And when we
yes,
look back, you'd had I think it was SARS,
yes,
avian
yes.
flu, some time ago, or at least you
10
thought.
years ago, yes.
Yeah. And so that was seemed to be sort of quite important that you were having regular, which annual bouts of flu. Wasn't that about?
Yes,
Hmm.
yes, quite severe bouts of flu.
Yes.
Um, and I was told by a naturopath that I probably had the virus or the bacteria of SARS
Yeah.
in my body.
Yeah.
And every time I catch a cold, it turns to something more serious because that activates the virus. So, yes, I had 4 weeks of that.
Well, pretty bad, weren't you? I mean,
Yes,
when I saw you that second time, you were really,
pretty
yeah.
scary. Yes,
Yeah. And so then I gave you some remedies for that, and that seemed
yes,
really kind of
it lifted it. Yes,
did
it
it
lifted it
lifted,
straight
or
away. Yeah, because I
but
had a
then
persistent cough with it.
that's right. And I remember then after that you all that lifted, but you were still left with the sort of I think the bloating and the energy, uh,
Yes,
really sort of low energy.
yes,
And then I gave you another remedy, and then I think
yes,
everything lifted.
yes.
And so, how do you, what difference have you felt then, before and after?
What difference have I
Felt before the
felt?
homeopathy and after? Yeah, what would
Well, I
you?
feel that I got more than I came to you for because I seem to have got my energy levels back from before the flu, and before, maybe 2 or 3 years I've been suffering from that and not actually realizing it. It's very easy to say, oh, I just feel a bit tired today. But when you suddenly realize you've been saying that for 2 years,
Right.
there's got to be something wrong. Um, and maybe you put it down to age or something like that, but actually other people my age are buzzing around still. So I definitely feel much better than there. Um, the flu has obviously lifted. And the bouts of I still have 1 or 2 attacks of the lichen sclerosus, but it's completely mentally gone from me. It's like something that's just, oh, there it is again. And then there could be 3 weeks before another attack, and the attacks only last 5 to 10 minutes. So it's not,
Whereas
it's
before
not
it was every day, wasn't it?
every day, and it could be 3 or 4 times a day, and it was taking over my life because it was
Yeah.
like if I didn't have to go anywhere, I wouldn't go just in case I had an attack.
Yes.
Um, things I've noticed, I wasn't able to wear anything other than baggy clothes. So that actually makes you look bigger than you are. So
Yeah.
that doesn't do much for your self-esteem. So now I'm back in tracksuit, you know, trendy tracksuits and trainers. Not that I'm doing the exercise to go with it yet, but they just make you look slimmer and they make you feel more energetic when you're walking around in, tighter clothing. So,
Yes.
so it's made a tremendous difference.
Absolutely. And then sort of just mentally, beyond the physical symptoms, just mentally and emotionally, have you seen changes as well?
Definitely. The fact that you're not thinking about it all the time, it's kind of the only time I'm thinking about it is when I do have an attack.
Yes.
Whereas before it was all the time. Everything was worked out around this lichen sclerosus.
And also, I mean, because you mentioned, I mean, without going into too much detail, you mentioned that, I mean, it gave you the energy to consider your life as a whole and make some changes as well.
Yes,
Uh,
yes,
is that
yes, definitely. I'm changing career.
fantastic? Yeah. It's something that
Um,
suits you better.
yes, I think so.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think so. It makes you wonder if the job was an irritation.
Yes, maybe.
Who knows? Who knows? But yeah,
That's absolutely wonderful. So do you have do you have advice that you would give to somebody who is considering homeopathy, as a treatment option for either similar health issues? What would you say to them?
Well, I would say definitely give it a go because it might work for you. There's no guarantees in anything. I mean, I have tried all sorts of creams and potions. I've tried HRT. I've tried coconut oil, which is very soothing. I did find some of the advice from the doctors wasn't necessarily the best for me. They told me to use hydromol, which is like it's something you use instead of a soap, but it's
Right.
water based and it tends to be very drying. Whereas what you need is something oil based so that it's hydrating for the skin. So I found coconut oil, just the stuff that you get off the shelf in the supermarket, use that as a soap and it's very soothing. But it doesn't take it away. It's just soothing. Um, so I would say yes, give homeopathy a go because you never know. You never know. And if you're suffering the way I was, it's worth a try.
And what we're trying to do in homeopathy is kind of reach the root of an issue, so that we actually
Yes.
cure, that we
Yes.
actually deal with it on a deep level. We're not just sort of. I mean, there's nothing wrong. Obviously, it's great to be able to soothe and to be able to ease a symptom.
Yes.
But if
Yes.
they keep recurring, the object really for us, anyway, as homeopaths, is to get to a deeper level, so we can actually really cure. and
Yes.
and then that's very successful then.
Yes.
So that's great. Look, thanks, Sharon, for coming along today. It's been, it's fascinating. I mean, everyone has a different journey, and
Yes.
it's so gratifying when somebody has a result like yours. I just wanted to share that with everyone. So thanks so much for coming along,
Thank you
and
very much.
we'll see you soon.
Yes. See you soon. Bye
Okay,
bye.
bye.